at ya. At ya. Tell you what's master. Coming at ya. Coming at ya. Rhyme style disaster. Coming at ya. At ya. Tell you what's master.
Welcome back to Cut the Bull, another scintillating episode. I am Wilfred Reilly. I'm here today with a group of people that I'm glad to call friends as well as co-hosts. We've got Charles Love, the triple OG. We've got Christy Kelly. We've got Brooks Crenshaw, both lovely and talented. I rarely get a sexist with these intros these days. Just looking to my left and my right. And we have, I'm glad to welcome back Shemeka Michelle, a media star, but also a former co-host of Cut the Bull, who's come back to the old microphone to grace us with her presence. She's currently one of the co-hosts and the regulars on Fearless. She's produced the Naked Girls series of media products before. She's a writer. And she's here today to talk about current events. And this, for the audience, is going to be a free-flowing conversation. So we're going to talk about a range of things. We joked before the show about, we're sure about our topic list, but we're going to talk about a bunch of different things. I'm actually going to open with something that's just, well, actually, I'm going to open just as I would with a guest that we're not personally friends with, and kind of get in some plugs about what Shemeka's doing. But the second question is going to be kind of random, and it's going to be about spanking. But for the first question, Shemeka, you're on Fearless right now with Jason Whitlock. You're doing a TV production. What's that like? What's your role? What do you think about that? What are you guys being fearless about this month?
So right now Jason launched a few months ago a new channel called Jason Whitlock Harmony. So we have Fearless, and then we also have Harmony. Fearless mostly now is sports mainly, and then the Harmony channel is everything that isn't sports. So what I do typically is just when I try to do whatever I can to make the show what it is. I mean, I don't have like a huge role in picking out sports topics because that's not my thing. But if there's something that I think maybe they're interested in, I will send it in. If there's something that I or Jason feel like is my niche to talk about, then I join the conversation. But other than that, it's like whatever he needs. If there's a song or a skit, I do that. I moderate the chat. I just try to be as helpful as I can because I don't know sports. And so I can't be on there daily, but I'm on there as much as I can be.
Yeah, and Fearless, and I muted the mic because Jane's, my fiance, says hi. By the way, I think all you guys have met
Hi,
Jane
Jane.
before. Yeah, she's in like a tracksuit, so she didn't want to like walk in the back like red hair.
Like a mobster over here, huh?
Yeah, no, well, not the full Italian like nylon and all that shit,
Take
but
the
it's like
cannoli, leave the gun.
it's like a UK tracksuit. You're not going to.
I'm sorry, that's
racist. Well, I mean, I don't think Kentuckians aren't a race. Italians, I guess you could argue.
No, I'm
are
talking
a race.
about assuming because she's wearing a tracksuit that she's in the mob.
Yeah, the squatting Slavs and tracksuits, that kind of thing. That whole region of Europe, like Italy on east. But so yeah, Jason Whitlock. I mean, Jay was he was a sports columnist for a long time, right? Like he played some football, and then he wrote about the game for quite a bit. So you guys are now moving. What is Harmony focusing on? Is that more social issues and faith issues, or
social issues, religion? He does a show called Bring Your Own Guitar with some country artists in Nashville. So it's just anything outside of sports. Since the Fearless channel now, pretty much every day the show leads with what's going on in sports, depending on the season. So football or basketball, typically something stupid an athlete may have done, something going on with a coach like Bill Belichick and how his girlfriend is ruining his career over here at Carolina, UNC Chapel Hill. So it just depends. But the Harmony channel, we launched that because a lot of us, the contributors, we didn't have much of a say over there on the Fearless channel once they started to do predominantly sports most days. So the Harmony channel kind of takes that takes up the slack if we can't actually talk about anything sports related. And sometimes he'll still put regular topics on that sports channel, but typically it's going to be heavy sports on the Fearless channel now.
Okay, now I'm actually gonna be quiet after this question for a bit, but so first of two non-sports questions. Bill Belichick brings up an interesting issue because I've been arguing with feminists online for a bit today. Now, I'm going to start with Brooks and just ask this question around the panel. If you have a rich man who's over 50 and he's dating a beautiful woman who's under 30, who do you guys think has more power in that relationship? This is called a power dynamics question on Twitter and so on. But like Bill Belichick seems to be getting pushed into a lot of things by his lady who's a former dancer of some kind. I don't know what kind, but like they were down by the beach with him in some kind of outfit recently. Brooks, who do you think? A 30-year-old model, 60-year-old coach, who's in charge?
I think it's case by case. I mean, there are some old ballers out there that will just, repeal and replace when there's a problem. So, from a control standpoint, I think it depends on the two people.
Okay, that's probably true. Christy, what do you think? In that kind of relationship, who's more likely to be the top dog? Is it always the man with the wallet, or could the beauty and other feminine charms kind of flip that relationship sometimes?
Rarely. 95% no, because at the end of the day, he's going to wake up and he's going to want somebody that actually can hold a conversation and be on his level. And generally, they aren't. And then plus, like Brooke said, they're replaceable. I mean, the model, 25-year-old types are a dime a dozen. Just go to Vegas and you can find one, in any strip club. So I think that they are easily replaceable.
Okay, so
But can we just say, ew, how gross it is, though? Like
on her part, I mean, probably for her because
yeah, I don't know if it's gross for him. I think everyone in this situation always. Oh, but sorry, we all interrupted Christy. Christy, go on, please finish there.
I just have a problem with anyone that has that much of an age gap because where's the limit? I mean, if you're 60 and you'll date a 20-year-old, you'll date a 16-year-old. I just have a problem with it. The age dynamics. To me, it's a little yuck in that area. I don't think the second the woman gets 18, she's magically a woman and is fair game. I don't think so.
I don't have a problem with age gap dating at all, and the ladies on the panel can boo like yeah. But I think that there obviously are arbitrary lines that we draw where people say, well, guys are dogs, you can't just date women that are through puberty, and I don't think most men want to. I mean, I think half your age plus 7 makes a lot of good sense. But I mean, when you're talking about someone dating someone that's 30, most men would probably prefer to date a 30-year-old woman over a 60-year-old woman. So I'll just say this: I don't think it's gross at all on Bill's end. I mean, I think it's a lot grosser for the 30-year-old woman that's dating this 60-year-old man because he's a millionaire. Like, I mean, do you go down on each other in the morning? Like, what type of relationship is this? Just a normal one? Yeah. So I think she's probably putting a little more committed effort into that than he is. But I respect your point, Christy. Spoken like a lady. Shemeka Michelle, who's in charge in this relationship? Like, is she the manipulator that's kind of pushing him along, or is he still just the boss man there?
From what I'm seeing in this particular relationship, it almost seems as if she's the boss. Because when I think something came out and it was like she didn't know they were recording or something. They didn't know they were being recorded. She pretty much seemed to be calling the shots and telling him what they were going to do and who he needed to connect with and how this person could help them on social media. And it just seems as if he's interested in maybe promoting himself a little bit younger or appealing to a younger generation now. And so she is the one that knows more about that because of his age and the era that he came up in. So I think in this situation, she has a lot more say than maybe in another situation where the man is older and they're in a different field or whatever. But I think when it comes to something being gross, yeah, I mean, I'm looking at his body and he looks like melted butter. So I wouldn't want to, if I was her, lay down with that. But apparently, to each his own, she likes it. And I think it's great probably for him. He likes the just the fun, youthful feeling of dating a younger woman. And I do feel like most men would want to be with someone who is younger, firmer, things that are in place. And it seems like they're having a fine time on conversation from the videos that came out. I don't know how much a 70-year-old, it would depend on how she could hold his attention, especially if she was liberal. So
I just looked it up. Bill is 73 and she is 24.
yeah.
So you were being generous with that 30. I
Right.
have a 20-something-year-old daughter. I would have a heart attack. I don't care how rich he is. I would have a heart attack if she brought home a 70-year-old man.
Yeah, I would probably have an issue with it too. I'm not sure because I remember when one of my daughters was 18. I think she was about 18, maybe 19. There was this 40-year-old trying to get her number and he was being like very aggressive. And her father had to step in and say, listen, like, don't try it. And we were like trying to, we asked ourselves, did we have an issue with it because we knew he was a bum and there was nothing that he could absolutely add to her life? Or would we think differently if this was some successful man and we knew that he would actually take care of our daughter? And I don't think we ever really, decided how we would feel. But I knew with that bum, we was like, absolutely not, sir. Move along.
Well, I mean,
Take your
technically
things and
speaking, I
go,
think
sir.
myself, Brooks, and Charles are all CEOs, although not of big companies. Like, if one of us was talking to your daughter, would you view that as bizarre?
I don't. So I do have a daughter that's 29. I think for my daughter that's 29, I think she's a little bit more savvy. She's a little bit more able to handle herself. Like she's not gonna be mistreated, I think. I would be fine with my 29-year-old daughter dating, someone of your age, but my 20-year-old, I would have more of an issue with that. That's my baby, and I think with anybody, I'm gonna be very protective over her.
Us
I'm
pulling up in
protective
like
with
the
all of them,
Lexus with
but
the beards, like it's not gonna happen.
you said what?
Like us pulling up in like a Lexus with like the beards, it's not gonna happen.
Not with my 20-year-old, but with my 29-year-old, I would say, how was it? How was the date? Just because, she's 29.
Interesting. Yeah. So Charles, we haven't come around to you yet, Big Chuck. Any thoughts on, I mean, first the age gap thing, or but anything that's come up so far?
Um, thank you, Wilfred. I'd like to say that Shemeka and Christy are crazy as hell. Christy more so. I always think Shemeka's crazy, but damn, Christy's crazy. She's really, really. Look, Christy, first of all, how dare you? Now I got to be the feminist. How dare you assume that that woman is a stripper? For all you know, she is a Dartmouth MBA, executive MBA candidate. And no, I'm glad you read his age though, because we were thinking about this. Because Will, like you said, Will says 60-30, and I'm closer to what Brooks said. I do believe it's on situational, and it's not the same. It depends on the people. But I lean more like Shemeka talking about this particular case, and I thought when you read the age, Christy, that was the case. 30-60, wealthy man, younger woman, probably the guy. I said when they're 70 plus, it's the woman. Right, because it's usually who was the other, was it Robert Kraft? Who was the one that was caught in
Kraft.
the house with it? Right, because what happens is even if he's not that type, like if he wasn't the aggressive, party guy, He's been with his wife for 20, 30 years. He's in his 70s and she dies and he's lonely. He's the one seeking this companionship, this whatever, right? The 20-something-year-old is just like, yes, he may be doing it just because he's wealthy, right? And he looks like melted butter, Shemeka. But she could find somebody that's not a billionaire that's, if she's attractive enough, somebody that makes a couple 100,000 and still be, more than what she's making and in a better bracket, right? He's the one that's like, I'm seeking this one thing. I got money, I got fame, I got all this other stuff. The one thing that I'm missing. So he's the one that's probably clingy. At that moment, your seniors, they get to a certain point and they become your kids. Unfortunately, you're taking care of your parents and your grandparents. He's the one that's like the teenager now, right? He's the one that's hoping to get a date and sitting by the phone and, I hope she calls me back, because even though he's rich, right, at 70 something, he's past the time that he could just walk in the bar. And that's another thing. If you've been successful and wealthy for a while, now you've seen something else. So you went through that part when you were maybe a geeky kid in high school, college. Then you had that period where you were, for that 20 years solid, you were, you're still young in good shape, whether you were attractive or not. You weren't overweight, you weren't old, and you had money. So you would walk into a bar, walk into a place, and people would jump. Right? Women would look, right? Oh, that's that guy I saw on TV. That's that football player. That's that millionaire. And then even though you're the same guy, that's not happening as much anymore. It's kind of like the opposite of the woman who was attractive and men always hit on her no matter what. And now she's 50. She still looks good for 50, but this is the first time in her life she didn't have men like clamoring on her all the time. That's something you have to deal with. Now, if it wasn't the norm to be hit on all the time, it's not a change at 50, 55. But if you're on magazines and all this kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden it just stops cold turkey, you kind of like, it seems odd. You got to, kind of get your bearing and figure out what else do you have to offer, and did you miss out on anything? I don't know if you all saw the clip of Maya talking about. I didn't even understand what she said, but she was talking about, somebody was asking her on a podcast what she feels about, never being married and never having kids and all this kind of stuff. And she was like, no, I think it's good because, look at all the things I may have missed. And I've seen some things. It was so weird. I don't know what she was saying. She has some regrets, right? And she's still attractive and, she's not young, but she's late 40s or whatever. What is she going to say in 15 years when she has no kids? She's not in a relationship and, she's never been married and all this other stuff. She's going to be looking back. So I think Belichick and Kraft and others are just like that. 60, you can still you're at the last end of your game, but you can still, put up a fight. What is the Toby Keith song? I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. That don't play at 75, right? So when you hit the 70s and you still want a girl in your arm, you kind of like, I'll do whatever I need to do. And then about the age gap, we got to talk about this pedophilia nonsense. I mean, I don't know where you want to put it in the rotation, because I've been quiet for a while, but this is so stupid. And I know I'm going to be in the minority, and that's the reason why I don't post it, because everybody's going to say I'm crazy. But if I want to hit what I'm talking about, Megyn Kelly's right. Go on.
Oh, on what? Megyn
So
Kelly.
She's in trouble now. I'm sorry, Will, go ahead.
No, so Charles, what you're talking about is like, and I don't think you're in the minority at all, actually. And I don't talk about this. So first of all, like, I'm pretty cool with being called a sociopath online, but like what you're talking about is this attempt to redefine common terms.
Everything, like, Nazi, fascist, pedophile.
Yeah, like all the shit on either side, like communist for them, Nazi, fascist, coon, excuse me, for us, like. But the stuff you don't want to talk about either, like rape, pedophilia, and even for me, like, I don't want to, like, I'm a fairly well-liked guy. I don't want to do a post like rape's not that and spend all day like sitting on top of it, defending it. Like, I know what I mean.
Wait, fill me in. I don't know what you all are talking
Fill
about.
us all in.
Pedophilia is a rare, real perversion. I think actual pedophiles should be thrown into wood chippers. It's sexual attraction to prepubescent children.
You can't leave that word out. Prepubescent.
Yeah, that's all it is. So, like, obviously, we need to have some arbitrary line that we draw where you can't fuck teenagers. But like,
that's true.
The percentage of males, in particular, it's also about 65% of females. Like, look at a quarterback drive by you in the park, that are attracted to people that are fully through puberty, which happens at like 16 years and 9 months, is very high. It's like 95. So the internet, starting with 4chan, where people just like to call each other pedos,
Mhm.
The internet has started trying to redefine pedophile as anyone who would theoretically have sex with a minor, which to the UN is under, I think, 21. It might be 20. Even in the USA, it's under 18.
Mhm.
So people have started using that term, and they're saying things like Ozzy Osbourne is a pedophile because in Britain the age of consent is 17, so he's had sex with a 17-year-old. And
Jerry
this is
Seinfeld.
yeah, Jerry Seinfeld is a pedophile because in New York State, when Jerry was like 29, his girlfriend was 17 years and 11 months old. And I actually think that this is part of a more general attempt. And Charles, this actually is like an important point to make in like a long form conversation space. This is part of a more general attempt to describe normal sex as crazy and weird while trying to normalize weirdo fucking shit like cutting off your dick. So, like, rape would be another thing. There, in one of my National Review articles, I actually printed out the list of the stuff that the largest feminist law firm in California considers to be rape, and it's like asking your girl for sex more than 3 times, suggesting someone have more than 2 drinks to get ready for sex, smoking marijuana to get ready for sex, like having sex when both of you are drunk, and it just goes on and on and on, like climbing on top
Wow.
of him in the morning. And the goal, obviously, is to say that, like, most conservative women and all men are rapists. Like, we exist in a world where sex is rape. And we need a new feminist paradigm for sex where, I don't know what, like, you have a notarized contract tattooed on your back and, like, your man signs it every couple of days or something. But, like, that is the idea. Like, life is sick, nature is sick. We need feminism or we need whatever to change nature. And I think most people look at this and they say, this is just crazy. But to say this is crazy, it's like transgenderism. You have to first know what's being said.
Right.
So when someone says, I oppose pedophilia, everyone naturally says, well, I oppose pedophilia too. What do you think I am, a creep? But you have to understand that, like, what's being defined as pedophilia is like attraction to 16-year-olds when you're 19.
Right.
Like this is
Right.
a new thing that's happening. And yeah, I think I just open it to the panel for comments. Like,
There-
I want to
There's-
say
there's
something
a
real
real-
quick. I brought it up, Brooke. I'm sorry, because
Yeah.
this is just
Go ahead.
I so many times I've typed something. It was like, what's the point? These people are stupid. But okay, let's start with a question since Shemeka's catching up. Is R. Kelly a pedophile? That's the first time I got in trouble
No.
because he should
R. Kelly
probably
is a
be in
sex
jail.
criminal.
Right, that's
I-
what I'm saying. Because there's already laws against certain action. If you're drugging people like Bill Cosby was alleged to do, if you're raping people, if you're knocking them over the head, if you're kidnapping, if you're trapping them, trafficking them, if they're 40, it's still a crime. You don't need to also say, and he's a pedophile. So now they're saying, like I said, Jerry Seinfeld, all the others, Trump, Jeffrey Epstein, which is what got Megyn Kelly in trouble. Now, him, I don't know because I don't know the age of the people he was alleged to do because I think it's stupid and I don't care enough to pay attention. But some of these people, you solidly know the date of the women they were dating. They're like, they're pedophiles. I'm like, but if you're looking at, so you can't at the same time say that the average height of the fertility for a woman is like 17 to 24. That's like the prime time that they're ready to drop, and then say anybody who's attracted to somebody who's 16 or 17 is a pervert. I'm not
Right.
saying a 45-year-old man should date a 16-year-old. I'm just saying he's literally not a pedophile. That's all I'm saying, right? He
Right.
could be a creep, right? There's a lot of other things you may consider. Society have said that that's an issue with that. That's fine, but he's not a pedophile. And saying that, lumping them all in with somebody who would troll the elementary school instead of the high school is no different than calling everyone Hitler. It's just
Yeah.
insane. I'm sorry, Brooks, go ahead.
So is
Yeah,
that the line? Is it elementary versus elementary
Yeah.
bad,
It's
high school good?
prepubescent.
Well,
It's
this
a pedophile
comedian,
is someone who's, and I do think, like, one point that the women have here that I think Christy is probably going to make is like there is. So, do you guys know the term caddishness?
No.
Wow.
Okay, like a cad is a
Oh, okay,
sexual
yeah, okay.
asshole.
Mhm.
So, and I actually like I am not at all prudish, as some of you may have noticed, and
What?
but I mean, so like I
But you
have
still
no
think
problem
they're
with
lying.
most consensual sexual things. Like I'm not the most religious, etc. But I think that there are things that are caddish. Like
Yeah, there's
in
still
the
some
past,
lies.
but like in the past, if you were to go on a second date with a woman, tell her a bunch of lies about your income, take her home, have anal sex with her, say you're going to call her again, and not, like, her brother would kill you. So I mean, I think there was a whole framework of things that ensured people didn't do stuff like that, and we've kind of gotten rid of all that. Like the only bad thing is like not consent. So people are trying to paint more things as non-consensual, like high school dating. The spin is like, well, it can't really be consensual. They're children. He's a 16-year-old, 17-year-old quarterback. A child, a child. You know, it's the same thing. Like more stuff is getting tossed into the rape category. You can just say like some things are bad. So like, why wouldn't I fuck a student? What anyone under 18 certainly, but also like a college student? Oh, because I gave my word not to, and I keep my word. And like you can debate like why, like Brooks and I have, like, why do virtuous pagans act like Christians? Like it's a great debating salon topic, but like because I said I would, you know, like so that there are things you shouldn't do that aren't natural law violations or whatever. But that's all in the CAD category. And I think we should just start saying some of that stuff should be enforced by social norms or misdemeanor laws again.
Right.
This kind of went into a little bit of a ramble.
No,
but like,
no, it makes perfect sense.
But yeah, like having sex with a junior college cheerleader, you can say that's scummy if you're 45. There's nothing naturally wrong with that. We've built up a system where people have to go to school until they're 28, which is weird and dumb. Just take an IQ test. So in that system, if you get the person who's stuck in college until they're 28 pregnant, and you're not going to be there as the dad, it fucks up their life. So we put barriers on your doing that. And that's where some of this age gap stuff comes from. That's really it. That has nothing to do with consent. The elementary school thing, like people are attracted to people who are done with puberty if they're normal. And they're not attracted to people who aren't done with puberty. That's it. So a pedophile is someone who's attracted to people who aren't done with puberty. And I guess you could say,
and
like,
most of the time, specifically, that's the higher attraction, right?
So there's a comedian that's got a really good bit on this, right? And he basically opens up and he says, okay, people call pedophiles because they think that they mean anybody under age, but actually pedophile means prepubescent attraction. There are other classifications. There's phebophile, which means you're attracted to pubescent age. And then there's ephebophile, which means you're attracted to post-pubescent, teenage, high school. But it's impossible to explain this without sounding like a fucking pedophile, which is,
Right.
that's kind of the bit, right?
When I was in jail, I read all this. Yeah, this is why guys don't talk about this online.
No, it's funny that he mentioned that because I was explaining, because I could see Christy. I want to hear what Christy has to say because she's like, so what do you mean? So I was explaining this to actually a mutual friend of ours, Christy. And she was like, I don't understand. I was like, prepubescent is an important part. I'm not saying it's okay, but there is a difference when you're lumping the people in who's like, I don't even care if it's a boy and a girl, as long as it has no development and she looks like she's 8, that's perfect for me. That is not the same as like, look at that high school senior and not every high school senior doesn't look the same. Some look young, some look like they're 20. And she kept saying, are you saying you like high school girls? I was like, I'm not saying anything. I'm explaining. I'm not condoning anything. I'm saying that words matter. We're the side to say words matter. And you're lumping everybody in. And so this is how I kind of convinced her. I said, okay, you think of all the supermodels that I don't think it's the same situation now because the industry is different. But go back to the 80s and the 90s when you had the Claudia Schiffers and the Elle McPhersons and the Cindy Crawford, or going back to Sybil Shepherd. Right? They probably got their start when they were really young, but they started to be sexualized. And
Sybil Shepherd was dating Elvis when she was 17.
That's what I'm saying. How old were they then?
Yeah, and Priscilla
like 15,
was even young.
14, 15, right? And by the time they were 16, they were international, right? They were on cover of every magazine. They were sex pods, right? So why are we acting like that if a guy looked at that Cosmopolitan or whatever Vogue magazine they're on and said, man, she's hot, that he's a pedophile? Really?
Being attracted to Cindy Crawford is not unnatural. Yeah, like I mean, you're arguing very well, but at some level, we all know this. There's a thing going, and after this, I think we should segue over to Christy because like the guys have been talking in a circle, like
we're all normal men are dogs. Leave my daughter alone.
No, but I mean, come on, like at some level, obviously there is a. So I'm going to say one thing, and again, I'm not totally unsympathetic to like the upper middle class female perspective here. Like we're in an era of neo-Puritanism right now. But the reason we're in an era of neo-Puritanism is that we let kind of the Hefner guys and the feminists run shit for like 20 or 30 years. And it got real weird. Like in sequence, we had like the hippies. Then we had like the rave era. And then we had all the stuff that came after that, like transgenderism, all of that.
You had Studio 54 in the middle of that. Like
in the
that's a
middle
whole
of a
other
disco. I
That
mean, there were
probably was
periods.
where it should have stopped right there. But at least it was
Yeah.
like in a club and everybody didn't see it.
Yeah, but like there were periods where like the average person had 18 like we always measure at age 26 how many partners do you have, and like right now it's like 6. There was one point where it was 18 in like the early 80s. So I mean I think a lot of people probably found that really non-ideal. Like you're female, you're looking at marriage, you fuck 18 guys, you're doing coke in a club bathroom, and there is going to be some level of backlash to that. But let's see what Christy Kelly, what do you think about all
Christy
this
Kelly.
pedophilia, sexual revolution?
I can't
Yeah,
wait.
so I am not opposed to changing the definition of it, obviously, right? You can probably see by the look on my face.
Yeah,
So I have
24.
I have
24.
three
If it's under 24, you're
I have 3 girls, 16, 19, and one that's like 32. So I could not imagine
and you, Shemeka Gus. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I could not imagine the 16 and the 19-year-old seeing any of their boyfriends or any of their boyfriends' friends and being like, oh, he's like, okay, that's a nice looking guy. But oh, I want to have sex with him or seeing him in a sexual way. I, as a very grown adult, could not imagine seeing a 16-year-old that would elicit a sexual response in me. I just can't see it. And so I think that that does dive into the realm of if you know this person and how young they are, and sometimes you could just tell by their face. I mean, he could have a grown man's body, he could be done with puberty, but you can see he is clearly a young boy. I just don't understand. Charles is laughing. I don't understand how that would elicit a sexual response. And now we're seeing a lot more women. I mean, we're seeing tons of teachers who are going to jail for having sex with their students. Like, I just don't get it. I think it goes into the realm of pedophilia. I mean, I
Do you
think
think
it's
there's
fine.
a double standard? Do you think there is a double standard there? Do you think there should be a double standard there?
No, there shouldn't be a double standard. They should go to
Change the
jail.
definition.
They should
Because
absolutely go to jail.
most men of a certain most men, I would say, that are over 30 are probably the young kid on like it's a different men treat that differently. Am I alone in this?
No, absolutely not.
What are you
Yeah,
saying? We think we treat what differently?
No, I mean, like
Oh,
I had a sexual relationship
like-
with an older woman when I was like 17. I mean, absolutely, there's no sense of victimization whatsoever. I mean, I think
but
that
that doesn't mean that it's okay. Right. And
Okay,
I
okay,
think
in
I
what
think the
standard?
harm is with everything that's going in our food, all of the chemicals, everything. Women now, girls now at 9 years old are looking like they're 17 because they're developing faster. You can go to middle schools and these girls are fully developed in a way that we weren't at those ages. They're developing faster. So if we
that's an
don't
argument
get
for
it,
protecting girls, though.
well, I am. It's definitely, but both of them are just maturing faster. I mean, I go to high school and you could forget about it. I mean, I understand why, all of them look like grown ass women, right? I get it. But I still think on some level, now, if you're in your 20s, okay, fine. Like I can understand because there's not that big of an age gap. But if you're 40 and you're literally preying, because I do consider it kind of preying on middle school or young high school kids, I think that's a problem.
It's a problem, but is it pedophilia? See, you're changing. You want to change the definition. None of
Let's
us here
change it.
said.
Let's change the
Christy,
definition.
last thing, none of us said it was a good thing. Will, in his amoral way, still said that you're a cat and we need to draw some lines and you shouldn't be able to do certain things. None of us said it was great.
Will said he wouldn't have sex with them because he agreed not to.
Yeah, he's out of contract.
That's exactly right. I wouldn't have sex with someone
If it
because they
wasn't
gave
for
me a
that
word.
darn contract.
No, like that's just to be very
It's
clear
students,
about that.
Christy.
So first
Yeah.
of all, like if you're talking about biological attraction, would I find someone who is 18 and a cheerleader attractive? I mean, sometimes, yeah. And by the way, that's also probably true for the other 2 guys on the panel. I'm not going to like call them out, but like
I've
the
never
percentage
been
of guys,
attracted to anyone under the age of 31, Wilfred Reilly.
Charles, that's obvious bullshit, Charles. I mean, like just the percentage of men who are you can't even drink.
I don't
that
even
water,
ask the age. If I look at them and I think they're attractive, then they're attractive. I don't know how
Yeah,
old
of
they are.
course.
I don't
But I mean,
ask
so, like,
ID, Christy.
So like
My-
I think it's worth like it's all fun bantering, and none of us are perverts in any conventional sense. I'm actually pretty sure. But in fact, interestingly enough, I'm pretty vanilla about actual sex, like French vanilla. But if someone's like, "Hey, put this saddle on me and hit me with a crop," like that's no. As a partly black man, I'm not getting chained to anything. Like it's whatever. Anyway, so but the point though, when you say you would be attracted if you didn't give your word of honor, and if we didn't have laws, you'd be attracted to people that are like 19. Well, yeah. I mean, most people would. The whole point of laws and of social regulation is that they prevent people from doing things that we think are mildly bad, but that are natural. But again, this is completely different from the pedophilia conversation. What you're saying, like you'd find it disgusting to sleep with like your daughter's male friends because you know they're kids, you see them making jokes in your house. I would feel the same way about like a student or something like that, of course. But if you were watching like an Olympic athlete from Comoros, you know, who was in their military, he's like 20 now, and you're watching him run. I don't think there's going to really be an immediate identification of that person as within 2 years of what we're now pretending is the same thing as childhood. And I think that's very natural. I think that's very normal. So no, I think these are completely different things. That's pretty much it. That's the whole conversation.
Yeah,
Is Comoros real? Or is that like an island country on the east of Africa?
One of them made up countries, one of them former British countries.
Go ahead, Shemeka. I'm sorry.
They left them a flag and some oppression. Shemeka, what are you saying?
yeah, I think that so I think a lot of people don't know or understand that pedophilia is prepubescent, because I had this conversation with someone and they didn't know what the definition was. They just thought it was someone young. And so I'm fine with keeping the definition the way it is. I did work at a school and we did have 2 girls to start their periods in 2nd grade. But then I feel like, okay, the protection of those 2 girls would need to come from their fathers, you know. And of course, if they are still, like Charles said, there are other laws. So if someone were to do something to them, then of course they would be rapists or whatever, and they should go to jail for those things. But I'm fine with leaving.
We still have those laws.
Right. So I'm fine with leaving the definition as it is. I do know, I can't remember if I was 17 or 18, but I dated someone who was 27. It was consensual. You know, I know girls when I was in high school that dated older men. It was consensual. So women, you know, they may, or girls may lose their virginity at 13, 14 years old. He's older. It's something that they want to do. And there was a time when young girls were 14 and 15 getting married. So I think the idea of seeing someone, I'm sorry, what did you say, Charles?
They were getting married to pedophiles.
Clearly.
I gotta say though, not to be on that feminist, but it is good we're getting past that though, which I think is part of kind of what Christy's saying. Like, obviously, you're not a classic form pervert if you're like 20 and your wife is a 15-year-old varsity athlete. But it's good that you can, like, don't you guys all agree it's good you can finish school and
yeah,
you don't have 3 kids when you're 18?
Yeah, for my children, I am happy about that, because I just can't imagine any of them being somebody's wife at 14 or 15 years old, like at all. But when it comes to biology and men being attracted to people where all the body parts are still where they're supposed to be, I don't think it's necessarily abnormal. And I've sat in a high school basketball game and listened to grown women say things that, you know, they may get crucified for some of the boys on the basketball team. I do think if you're a teacher or whatever and you're exercising that type of power, that's immoral. You should not be doing that. But I don't think it's necessarily just unnatural or you should be considered a pedophile.
Fair enough. Okay, so we had a lengthy conversation about pedophilia there. This is the kind of content that's going to go. YouTube's not just, they're going to keep us monetized forever. I mean, we could really just switch over to rape now. I mean, that's like what's that? You know, like in the morning, does that count? But actually, I think there's a real news item that we could go to here. I mean, the Epstein files. Now, this gets into a lot of this, and I mean, to be pretty politically incorrect, there's actually a debate about what the Epstein files are. And there are kind of 3 positions on this. One is, I think, the mainstream position, and this is until like the debate recently, what I've leaned toward, which is Jeff Epstein is a pedophilic rapist. I mean, he invited basically high school cheerleaders and such over to his condo in New York. He had them give him massages and blowjobs. I mean, he pimped some of them out to friends of his. And there's a question about which other rich, powerful men were involved in the Epstein sex network. Now, some people are saying Dick Hanania online has really, for whatever reason, been going to bat on this one. Some people are saying most of these girls were actually 17 to 18 on up, which is over New York's age of consent. Many of them were in their early 20s. They were basically consenting to this, and there was a party network of people around Jeff Epstein. Eventually, Epstein was charged with some sex crimes because younger people were involved in this network. But there probably really isn't a network of famous pedophiles around Epstein. The Epstein files are going to reveal just the people that were on the passenger manifests of Jeffrey Epstein's planes, if that makes sense. Like people that were flying with him to do business. Some of whom would be New York school teachers, some of whom would be politicians, some of whom would be Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, who, at least in the second case, probably really didn't do much with Epstein's girls, if anything. The third case would be Donald Trump's position, which is this is kind of an old story. Some people did things, some people didn't, but there are also going to be a bunch of GOP donors on these lists. Okay, get them out there if you have to. Massey's been on my ass about this, but this is yesterday's news. So there's now a brouhaha about the Epstein files, but Congress, the Democrats are now pretending to care after not pressuring Biden at all for 4 years. Tom Massey, Mr. No, I know and generally like Massey in Kentucky, put a bill out there with no hate. This is one of, Brooks might correct me, I think 3 bills that he's passed. But he put a bill out there. Everyone got behind it except for one guy. Kind of got to wonder. I don't know. But except for one congressman.
Who was the one guy?
I don't know. I'm going to look him up when people start responding. But anyway, a vote was passed to release a largely unredacted Epstein files. What's happening? I'm going to shut the bleep up and let everyone respond. Shemeka Michelle, our guest, is going to bat lead off. What do you think about the Epstein files?
You know, I want to know simply because I think I'm very inquisitive. And so I want to know everything there is to know. Were there high profile men going to this island? Even if it was for business, I would just like to know, could it have been possible that they were paying $200 or whatever for a blowjob? I just want to know. I'm inquisitive like that. So whatever there's out there, I would like to know. Of course, if there are any girls, because I keep seeing press conferences or whatever of women saying that they were mistreated. If they were actually mistreated, I would like to know that as well. And I do feel like someone should pay in some form of fashion for that. But I also have seen things where there were girls telling their friends like, hey, you can get, a couple $100 by going over here and doing ABCD. And people are upset because maybe these were young girls who were in poverty and they were taken advantage of. But I just feel like if you kind of know what you're getting into, maybe now you feel like you were underpaid. Tough titty kitty. You accepted the low funds, then it is what it is. And you don't get to double back from that. But it's just, I want to know because I'm tired of hearing about it and being in the dark.
Yeah. And I think that obviously we want to be really sensitive to anyone who is a trafficking survivor, so on. But I think if you look at the comments online, that is the subtext of some of them. Like, were these 18 and 20-year-old people that frankly were going over to Jeffrey Epstein's because alumni of their prep school said, for $300, you can do this with this guy and then go to a party? Or were these people that were dragged over there and trafficked and then brought unwillingly to this island who were 14 or 15, which was kind of the narrative that always hit the public papers. And We've seen a lot of these press conferences from the Epstein survivors, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of discussion about who the clients were. I don't really see why. I'm pretty confident with the legal internet. I don't see a lot of NDAs. But we'll see. We'll see. Charles Love, what do you think? Epstein files.
One, Shemeka, is $200 low, or is that a good price for the blowjob? I don't know what a good.
I would think that was low.
I mean,
low? I don't know.
Well,
when
was it though? It's not like they're talking about it now, but I'm assuming it was a decade ago. With inflation, At that time, was 200 a good price?
No, in the 90s, I was offered a lot more than that. I never took them up on it, but $200 is low.
$200 as well, especially if you're dealing with wealthy people. Okay, that's my first thing.
Yeah.
Secondly, we know the word and all this fervor in the lexicon matters because Will, in setting up the Jeffrey Epstein scenario, said he was a pedophile trafficker, but then mentioned high school age, the 18-year-old girl, because they say it so often,
Oh, I
right?
thought he was being
I'll let it
facetious.
slide in this case. If you got like 25, 14-year-olds in your house, I mean, like we we can the syntax isn't the most important. Like the lawyers can
Christy
say
will
whatever.
thank you for
So
that.
I've got an update on the lone vote. It was Clay Higgins of Louisiana. You know,
Really?
yeah. So Clay Higgins, the guy who came to fame as the sheriff, who was like, "We stand with our community and the gangbangers and the little monsters. We're gonna come for you." That
Yeah.
guy, he voted no, and apparently it was because he said that broadly releasing investigative files without adequate protection for innocent individuals was the issue. As a former law enforcement guy, maybe he's holding a particular a line with regard to criminal justice. I don't know, but that's the headline.
I'm glad you broke in with that because it makes an interesting point. That's been my question. Not so much, I mean, that's important too. Like, are you leaking victims' names and information and details and all that kind of stuff? But also, I don't understand the point of it. What's the point of it? It's not like you're saying we're going to take the information we got and investigate it and go after people. You can do that without giving it
Well,
to us.
I mean,
What?
the prevailing narrative here is that Epstein was an intelligence operative who was conducting blackmail operations to control very powerful people in very strategic positions, and Patel and Bongino et al. Were running on or were spouting in the media when Trump was running. We got to get this out. We got to do this thing, and as soon as they get in, they're like, turns out there's really no there, and there's probably one of three options here. Either there was no there, or they could have released everything and just cleaned house, and that might have been chaotic and catastrophic. Or they could take over as the handler. They could take over as the leverager to quietly, implode their opposition. And I think that might be what has transpired.
Yeah, like it has to be something, right? Didn't Prince Andrew just lose his
Yeah.
title, Your Highness, or whatever over this? So it just seems like there's something. What I've always been curious about is why none of these young girls or who are now women, why haven't they named names? I wouldn't need permission to name names. Like if I was there and then, just for the sake of saying a name, I knew I was with Tom Hanks and then I saw him on Forrest Gump, I would say, oh, yeah, that was him. I've never understood why they haven't named any names if they know or have seen some of these high profile men since. They're very quiet about it and very, it's almost like they're saying something without saying anything.
I
And it's
think that's the point
frustrating.
that I was going to make. And I think maybe there are NDAs, maybe we just don't know about them. Maybe there have been settlements. Someone also commented that they may be afraid of getting sued. Like if they don't have the proper proof and they do name, say Tom Hanks, but they can't prove it, then maybe, getting sued in some capacity.
But
But I would be talking too. And that's been my frustration. I mean, this has been going on for too long, and just name names. Just start talking, girls.
There's also, I mean, a lot of the girls seem to be pretty brave, but there's also beyond naming names. I mean, beyond NDAs, there's also the worry that guys in scuba gear are going to come down your chimney and kill you.
But
I
put
mean,
you
like
in a
when you
drum.
talk
Yeah.
about like one of the names was Prince Andrew, so like Virginia Giuffre, the first person to come out there and really say some things, as I recall, famously posted a tweet where she said, I am not suicidal. I'm a brave woman. I'm going to end some of what I still do think is patriarchy remaining in the world. And I think 3 weeks later had an opioid overdose, quote unquote.
Mm.
Like Jeffrey Epstein himself died in the suicide-proof New York jail. And I mean, I don't think assassination is frequent in politics, but we recently saw the anniversary of the Khashoggi death, where the Saudis got tired of a Washington Post reporter, and so they cut him into pieces with a bone saw. You can still hear the recording of him dying on Telegram. You know, like there's that guy who spoke, who was Hillary Clinton's lover, who shot himself 3 times in the back of the head with a cig. I mean, so it just there, I think there may be a little bit of that's on your mind. Is it going to happen? Maybe, maybe not. But I mean, if someone's interrogating you and they have 2 dogs in the room, are they, per protocol, going to let the dogs go? Probably not. Are you very aware of the dogs? I mean, yeah.
But then even with the tapes being released, aren't they still in danger? So whether they talk or not, if the file is released, then they're still in danger.
Keep an eye on them for a couple of years. You know, I mean, I think that each level of escalation, yeah, there's some risk. And, you know, I mean, you're right. They're giving press conferences now. So, I mean, like the more you poke the bear, the more, you know, there's some risk of reaction.
Well, all of you have made some really intelligent points, and yet I still don't know what the point is of telling me. That's what I don't get.
Don't tell Charles, just tell me.
No, I mean the public. I mean, what's the point of saying our most important act must be to release them to the public? That just seems like the odd thing to be focused on.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't really get the strategic approach of the Trump administration sometimes. I mean, because this whole Epstein files thing, and this is like, I don't think I've made a coherent point about this, honestly, because the whole Epstein files approach comes from Trump. The people that were saying this crap was it was Kash Patel, it was Dan Bongino, Bondi. Like, these are the people that were out there saying, like, it's going to be on my desk. It's on my desk. I'm ready to go. And then all of a sudden, it seems that they kind of hit a wall and just said, this is a fake story. It's over. And they expected the right, like all these aggressive patriot citizens, to say, okay. And it's one of the biggest self-induced fumbles I've seen. I don't get it myself.
Yeah. Now that I agree with. They created their own problem, but what was the point? Do you remember? Because I don't remember why they were running on, or why they were, before they got in their position, saying this is something we're going to do. You put Trump back in office, and you make me, Attorney General or the head of FBI, and I'm getting those documents out.
I think because it was adjacent to the notion of like masters of the universe in the global,
so bringing elite, down big government.
Yeah, it's adjacent to that.
Yeah, the one government universal kind of, that kind of deal. Oh, okay.
This is kind of Christy's wheelhouse, but
yeah, if you go back and you listen to his speeches, Trump actually never said that he was going to release them. He's actually never, I mean, everyone around him kept screaming it at rallies, but out of his mouth, he never said it. And he's always been of the opinion that innocent people who may have just been at a party or been on the island or been on a phone call would get swept up in it. So
what happens when this comes out and nothing happens? Then what? Nobody goes to jail.
Well, Trump takes a big hit is what happens.
A few people get embarrassed, but nothing criminal. Then what happens? Is that the worst thing? What is the worst result that can come from this being released?
The worst result that can come from this being released is what will almost certainly happen, which is that the files come out, they're heavily redacted, they include hundreds of Democratic and Republican bigwigs, and they don't distinguish who did what. So, I mean, for anyone in the audience that's interested in the Epstein files, like, most of them are just on WikiLeaks. I mean, you can see like the manifests for, I think most of us have probably looked at them, for the Lolita Express and so on. And it's just, excuse the language, motherfuckers that flew on the plane. So you can go through them and you can say, oh, here's Harold Alderman or whatever. Like, people that are heavily involved with the Dems, more of them, but also people involved with the GOP. And so both parties can make their list. And the worry is that you can then say from that, like, look, he's a pedophile. And like, the majority of these guys are probably just guys that knew Jeff Epstein or that live in New York City. Like, Donald Trump is not a pedophile. Like, the whole thing that comes, and leaving aside the definition of pedophilia, because attraction to 17-year-old athletes is not pedophilia. But like, leaving aside all of that, like, what that means is that Donald Trump knew a guy who allegedly sold the services of 18-year-old high school athletes, like, disgusting stuff. But Trump, I don't think, there's no evidence he bought them, but that's where that claim comes from. That would be a typical example. Bill Clinton, I don't think we know for sure. It's just everyone on those listings, on those manifests, is someone in the Epstein files. Like, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am.
And really quickly, Christy, maybe you can help out that. Even if that's the case, it's kind of like takes me back to the Kavanaugh thing. It's like, even if, give them their argument, even if they're guilty of what they're accused of, like in his case. So he threw you down on some coats and then ran out the room. What would he have gotten charged with at the time anyway? Even if Trump was at the party, what's his name? Epstein comes in. He's like, I got a couple girls you can meet. $100. Oh, I'm sorry, Shemeka. $500. They're good. $500.
Don't undervalue women.
Right.
That's cheap too.
$750. And he says, okay, and he pays for $750.
I gotta say, like, I don't think any of us pay for sex, but like in the OnlyFans era, I'm not sure $500 is cheap. Like, you can
No, it is cheap.
search
If you
40
have
bucks
to,
and you'll find some.
no, yeah, you probably can, but maybe it's just not high quality. I don't know. Maybe I had a higher going price, and so it seems
Shamika, can you
cheap
give
to
me a number for my hypothetical story? What's the number?
What year are we talking about?
94.
94, it's at least 1,000.
Okay, 1,500. So Jeffrey Epstein goes to Trump, say 1,500. He's like, cool. He hands him the 1,500, and he does the business. But he didn't bring the girls there. The girls were already there, whatever the case may be. Christy, isn't it at best in 94, if the police raided came in and they are, we're busting up the joint. Yeah, see? Because that's the way the police talked in 1994. Leave it alone. Isn't he just a John? Is he getting charged for trafficking? I mean, he's just a John, right?
I mean, it all depends. I mean, are the girls underage? Are they there?
Oh my God, you and the age.
willfully?
They're 18. The girl is
Are
18.
there
Okay.
drugs? Are they
18.
there?
There's no drugs and they're 18. The man's
they-
never touched a drink or a drug in his
Yeah.
life, so let's assume there's no drug. So what are you
Yeah.
getting charged with?
I mean, it's illicit. I mean, it could be prostitution.
Right, so he gonna pay a fine, so he gonna double his 50 and he going home, right? So what are we talking about? It's not like
I mean, I
it's not
really
like
do
the
feel
files have videos on them. What do you think are in the files?
I really do feel this is the new Russia. Like I think Trump's been saying that it is. It's the new Russia gate, and unfortunately, MAGA did it to themselves. And I think it is kind of. I mean, I feel bad for the victims, but it is kind of wasting all of our time because I can't imagine that anything is really going to come of this.
And I would go even further and say, even if something comes of it, it's still wasting my damn time. Because I'm not going to jail. I wasn't at the parties. I didn't spend $2,700. Is that right, Shemeka? I didn't spend $2,700 at Epstein's party, so I'm fine.
What if
And lock
there's
them up.
what if a tape comes out with, someone getting urinated on? That was a hot topic at one time.
Wait, stop. Let's be fair. That tape came out like 8 years before anything ever happened to him, though.
Yeah, true.
People had to talk and other things had to happen first.
I
That
just
tape,
feel
people
like
passing it around at parties and nothing happened.
I feel like the Democrats are so slick that they're just gonna wiggle out of it. Because what's that chick's name that from the Virgin Islands or whatever, who was actually on texting Jeffrey? He was coaching her
Oh, right.
on what
Yeah.
to say. And I mean, she was like, oh, he was my constituent and, he was helping me. Are you serious? But it seems like they just bought it and nothing's going to happen to her.
I'm a 30-year lawyer. I do not need advice on how to ask questions to people. Like that was it. And let's see if something happens.
And is it true that Bill Clinton was in a dress and that Epstein had the photo?
No, it was a painting. Epstein had a professional artist paint a picture of a sort of voluptuous-assed Bill Clinton in a dress. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff in Jeff Epstein's house. Like there's an article that came out in the Post recently that cataloged all the books he had. So he had a lot of stuff on tantric sex, and he was either reading or writing about how to make Black people more intelligent.
That's nice of him.
Yeah, what a great,
I'm
what a
starting to
benefit,
like the little
what a
pedophile.
benefactor to the community. I mean, but the white
Only he would
savior,
stayed alive. Look at how smart I might have been.
boom.
Before we run out of time, can we please talk about Michelle Obama?
Okay, we can do one. That I was actually about to say this. We could do another topical round. Then we got to do words of wisdom. We're out of here. But Michelle Obama, Christy, lead us off. What about the former First Lady, the FLOTUS?
I really want to hear Shamika's opinion on this because the thing I don't understand about her, I actually get her hair comments. I just think that she's stuck in a time warp because when we went to law school, so I went to law school about 20 years ago. She probably went 30 years. She's about 10 years older than me. There was that time where I mean, I couldn't have had locks, and been a professional 20 years ago. It would have been much more difficult. Now no one cares. I feel like she's stuck in this little loop. And if she hates everything and everybody so much, why doesn't she just stay in Martha's Venue and just have like a nice private life? I
No one
feel
has
like
locks in Martha's
I
Vineyard.
feel like she hates, she has so many grievances. Just go sit down somewhere, drink your wine, and be rich and enjoy your kids. Like, I just don't understand. Why are you still public if you hate being public?
Well, first of all, I think she would enjoy somebody else's kids. Whoever those people are that actually donated the sperm and egg. But what's so frustrating about her is, okay, let's just say she felt the pressure to have her hair straightened. Number one, why is it still straightened now that you're out of the White House? She wore braids for a little while as if she was just trying to get a couple of good pictures or photo ops from that. She's literally sitting on stage complaining about her hair being straightened, but having it straight. Not only that, when her children were still young enough to have ponytails, she was straightening their hair as well. So these kids didn't have to have straight hair. You could have actually done ponytails or very nice styles with natural hair. None of my children ever had relaxers, but they used to take the most beautiful school pictures with their natural hairstyles. My oldest daughter said I made her wear ponytails until 7th grade. Like, she could have had her children in natural hair. So for me, I can't really give her a pass, or maybe that's just how she felt then because she's still doing that. And then she pushed that same mindset on her children. And I don't even know if she realizes how dumb she sounds to say that she did all of that for white people when you're still doing it and your husband is considered Black. You made him look like the biggest simp on the planet to know that his wife gets up every single day and has her hair straight for somebody white, and he's not that. Every time she opens her mouth, she just makes Barack look like, he looks stupid. And as I said today, I don't condone violence, but I understand because she is insufferable.
But Shemeka, in her defense, when you did that with your kids, that was the 70s.
Whatever.
One thing that
Have we
actually
ever
is
seen her with natural hair? I don't think I've ever seen her natural hair.
She tried to pretend like she was wearing that natural hair. She did like some curly stuff, but it looked still like it was a weave.
I've
This was
seen
after
like
she
Michelle
left.
Robinson with an afro, like back in the day.
Yeah, I saw her with the little flip
Yes, Brooks,
in the
let's
prom
hear your
picture.
take on the Black women's natural hair.
I'm just talking about a historic photo that I saw, man. I'm just documenting shit. I ain't got nothing to say about hair.
I got nothing to say about that. Nope.
I mean, he has as much right to talk about it as anybody else. But one thing that I will say actually is it's kind of interesting. The two conservative Black women on the program have very stylish natural hair. So I mean, I think there's a lot of trash talk from people that are obviously deeply insecure about sisters, quote unquote, that lean to the right. I mean, Shamika's got the dope hat on, so on. I mean, Michelle Obama seems a lot more insecure than either of you guys do. Both of those look good. I mean,
got
for
a
that
question.
matter,
I got a question about that though. Like, is America doesn't care about that, but did the circles they were running in care? The law firm where she was with Bernadine Dorn and the school pipeline that the kids were in. Like, did that set care?
Maybe not the kids because they're younger than us. So at that time, people didn't really care. But I mean, probably when they were in their 20s, people probably cared. When Michelle was 20 or 30,
But that's what I was
like
saying.
Christy
Like
was saying, people probably cared, but not anymore. Not when they went in the White House,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
not
mean,
the second term.
not
Yeah.
since the 2000s. I mean, that was like a 90s thing, right? Maybe
Right.
early 2000s where you had to
Somewhat.
act a
I mean,
certain way.
I noticed, like, in reality, like, both the Appalachian guy and the other Black man on the panel have full beards. The two Black women have natural hair. I mean, I have the same baldy and little soul thing that I did as, like, a dude living in the hood 25 years ago. I mean, I think in America for most of my life, there's some racism, and that's in both directions. We're 60-40. but people are much more likely to judge you based on performance. And that's
But,
not
but
like
some
a
of it's
proven.
also, isn't it not just race? So, well, I'm sorry to cut you off, but you mentioned the
Sure.
beard. Made me think about it because I go on TV with a beard, and 15 years ago, nobody would ever do that. They wouldn't let you go on TV if you had a beard. You had to shave.
Which is why I
It's,
think Larry Elder is stuck, because I do feel like he should
yeah,
add
you should grow a
something.
little one. Yeah, it's changed over time, and it's race is like a bit of it. So, like, a one comment from me, and then I want to hear from the panel a little bit more. But like, there's so much that goes into this that's attributed to race. Like in the North, since like 1965, I think race has been 10-30% of the puzzle, but not most of it. So, like, there's a famous study that asks, are Emily and Greg more hireable than like Tamika and Jamarian? And they're missing something really obvious with that question. Like the real question is like, are Tamika and Jamarian more hireable than like Bubba and Nevaeh? Like that's not a direct comparison. It's like, are Emily and Greg more hireable than like Marcus and Lisa? And if you actually use the names Marcus and Lisa, there's no difference. So you have to compare people of the same class, the same age. We've all done them. Most of us on this panel have done social science. You've read some of my stuff. So there used to be discrimination against both quote unquote redneck and quote unquote black men with full beards. So in that era, I mean, I used to have a beard when I was on a trading floor where you're supposed to be kind of an asshole. I used to have a beard with like those fire tips you can see on my Facebook and Twitter photos. And if someone told me like shave your beard that looks like flames if you wanted to go interview at a standard bank, I would have shaved it. It wouldn't have become this whole thing like, no, I'm a
Get out of here,
bro.
Guy
And the thing
Fieri.
is, we look like pricks. And like there wouldn't have been like a huge identifier for me. And I think that's true for a lot of metalhead white guys, a lot of hood black guys. You can identify with something as a part of yourself. And you can also say, if I want to move into a different world, I can change that. And I think a lot of black men in particular have been really taught not to do that. But that's a different panel.
Yeah, I think Michelle Obama is definitely insecure. And I feel like a lot of Black women who don't wear their natural hair, who point the finger at either Black men or white people, are just insecure and won't take accountability, like, or won't say, you know what? I have been conditioned to think that my hair is not attractive. This is how I think, this is how I feel about myself. And I haven't gotten to a point where I can actually see myself in my natural state. Instead, they say, well, I have to do this because, Black men will say they like natural hair, but they don't really. When I've never run into an issue with my natural hair, they'll say, I would love to wear my natural hair, but white people won't allow me to be in these circles. Like I was on Fox with an afro. So I just don't think that is a good reason in 2025. Like I think maybe in 85, yes, but now Michelle is lying and she is just insecure and uncomfortable
But
with her
Shameka,
hair.
real quick, that's important though. Here's the question to that then, if you're right, and I believe you're right, to set aside your views on the Obamas or politically, it's just interesting. If you're right, don't you think it's odd, or what is it about somebody who could be that famous, that successful, that rich, that's well loved in general, right? And still be insecure. Like, and then, but you're not like shy about it because you keep bringing it up. You're going on podcasts, you're writing books. You can't stop talking about how bad you are treated, how bad you were treated, how bad you were treated in the White House, whatever. But every magazine had you on the cover, way more than they had Melania, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody said
Oh
you were
yeah.
beautiful. You were the everything. So isn't it something odd that something about her's making her cling on to that and not let go?
I mean, I don't know because Joan Rivers died, right after.
And you're the
I
new
know.
Queen of Mean?
I
Or what
know.
are you trying to
No,
say?
no, no. She said the thing. You got it. You say it.
So, I don't know. I'm just saying, something is causing her to be very insecure and unhappy with herself. And, I don't know what it is. It could be as small as not being able to carry her own kids. I don't know. Yeah.
I just think like the insidious thing is she has the highest ratings. Everybody's like, oh, she could be president if she wanted to be. So she's supposed to be kind of like, the pinnacle of, what some liberal Black women look up to. And you're the peak of grievances. It's
Yes.
like,
But
are we ever going to move past that? Like, just shut up, go to Martha's Vineyard, have some wine, and
Or
enjoy
Hawaii or
your
one of the other
rich
places.
life.
question
Yeah.
is that
Last comment from Brooks, then we're doing the final words. Brooks, what do you think?
is that insecurity, since like we're talking about the people who said never let a crisis go to waste.
Is it
Mhm.
real?
They've,
Okay.
they've never let a grievance go to waste. And grievance is the thing to stir. Like, is it that she's insecure, or is it that she's still trying to stir up from a political objective? Like that's a question that I have. I don't know.
I
It's a
would say
good que-
both. It's possible.
Boom. That's a great point to end on.
Will's
Yeah.
like, shut up. I want to go to bed.
Kicking us out.
No, we're not. I mean, I wouldn't be glad to talk for 20 more minutes. I love all you guys. We're all friends in real life. But like that is a good point to end on. That's a great stopping note. And I mean, there is a real debate about we've trained generations of people, and we now see this, by the way, with working class white men when we talk about the quote unquote woke right. We've trained people to weaponize minor grievances everyone has as unique forms of quote unquote oppression. We recently saw that article. I'm kind of talking to the audience here, which includes a lot of minorities, a lot of working class white men. But the idea is minor grievances are sort of set signs of oppression. We saw that article about man keeping, like you have to pay attention to your partner and help them out with things. So you're an oppressed woman or man. That's just life. But anyway, let's go to last words. I can't, stop the conversation, then talk for 5 minutes. I'm fully capable of it. Let's go around the panel. Brooks, what's your final word of wisdom for today's show? We talked about a lot of things.
Oh wow,
Anything else?
we talked about gap dating and age gaps and hebophiles, and I don't, man, I'm trying to find the thread. What was the through line in this conversation?
What things really mean, maybe.
I think we got a lot of, I think a lot of the panelists got a lot out of their system in this episode, and that's probably, we probably needed that kind of reset to, when we come in the next episode,
It was cathartic.
yeah, we had some catharsis, and I think catharsis is a good thing, and I think we had some of that. So first of all, it's wonderful to finally meet you, Shemeka. I've heard so much about you, and I've seen a lot of your content, but this is our first panel together. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Right. I guess I'm actually in the next box. Can't skip over myself. I mean, I think what I took from this episode, something I often get from talking with Shameks, the person that was on this show before, Christy Kelly, person in the next box, both great. But the thing I took from this episode is that it's important to talk about what things really mean. Dating women that are dramatically different from you in power terms, wildly younger than you that you don't love, so on, that's bad. It probably doesn't make you a pedophile. We talked about people are going to be called a lot of things when the Epstein files are released, when a political scandal drops. It doesn't mean that everyone on Trump's team is evil, quote unquote. I could go on and ramble for a while, but instead I'll just say when things happen, try to look through the bullshit, recognize what's actually happening, and see what things actually are, whatever the label being used is at any given time. Reality doesn't change when the words being used to describe it do. And last thing, I mean, we're all on the right here. One of the left's little games is that they think that it does. They think that if you change the label for something, the thing itself changes. That's called postmodernism. That's not real. And it's really important to keep that in mind. If you say that a man is a woman, no, he's not. That's it. Christy Kelly, what do you think?
Well, something totally off topic. Shemeka, please tell Jason he is looking great. So I noticed that when I popped in on the episode, he has lost a lot of weight. He's over there exercising. So I think, he is looking off topic. He's looking fabulous. Yeah, keep that up. And I won't probably rethink my views on pedophilia, but I will say it is from an emotional mom perspective that I do hold my views. So I do realize it's not in the technical sense, but I'm still pretty grossed out about the thought of, looking at teenage boys in a sexual way.
My
Just as a note,
turn.
I think we all probably think we should like hang dudes that fuck 14-year-old girls. Like a lot of this is just a thing. But anyways, Shemeka Michelle, go on.
Well, I would like to say I agree with you. I did a series on shaking my head where we talked about actually sticking, not allowing them to change the words, because when they change the words, the truth dies. So I think that we need to not do what the left does and actually stick to what things actually mean, because they try to just do too much. My words of wisdom after this show is, and I wrote it down so I wouldn't lose my place: be yourself. Okay. If you want to wear your natural hair, do it. If you want to date in a huge age gap, as long as they are past puberty, do it. If there's a ratchet little girl on the inside of you and you want to know what's going on with the Epstein files, there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. And I want to say, if you are married, have sex with your husband. Your body is not your own. And personally, for me, I date younger. So I tell everybody, take a dip in the kiddie pool, because that's where you'll find the fountain of youth.
Not literally the kiddie pool, but all right, Charles
The
Love.
after puberty pool.
I'm about to say we're bringing it up. It all comes back to
Given relevant legal requirements. Charles Love, though, in general, very solid advice. Charles Love.
I just want to reiterate that words matter. There's ways to control for things that we find that are just straight up immoral or illegal, or that we find distasteful. I think that R. Kelly, based on what I believe he's done, is in the rightful place, being in jail. He cannot be a pedophile and still be in jail. I think Diddy is a terrible guy who beats women, and he should do jail time for it. I don't think he was a trafficker, so he probably shouldn't be, doing, years and years of time as if he trafficked women, because that's not what, at least they didn't prove it. The trafficking turned out to be his girlfriend, right? All the women, there were no women in trailers. That matters. Calling everyone a Nazi makes a difference, because it makes it easier to punch the Nazi, remember? Because they used to say, should we be able to punch a Nazi? We were on the fence about whether we should or not. We definitely shouldn't if everyone's a Nazi. So, Christy, be calm and just, feel safe in the fact that all the things you think are creepy, I still think are creepy. And many of them I think guys should be in jail for. They're just not pedophiles.
Fair enough. All right. Good discussion of words and their meanings. And again, I think, Charles, I could go on for a long time there. There's a lot in between murder or rape and good. There's nothing wrong with recognizing it without saying that people should get 10 years. We don't want to cheapen the words that actually matter. Nazi, rapist, murderer. Keep that in mind, gentlemen and ladies. Thanks to Shemeka Michelle for coming back for another episode of Cut the Bull. For Brooks Crenshaw, Christy Kelly, Charles Love, and in a returning appearance, Shemeka Michelle, I am Wilfred Reilly. Thank you for watching.
I got a country to say. Patriot J, I'm saving the day. Patriot J, I'm saving the day from you commies who lame. No, you can't fuck with me. I got a country to say. God bless the US of A. Land of the free and a home of the brave. God get all of the praise. I got a country to say, cause I'm Patriot J and I'm saving the day.